Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. We're back with the Week 4 DraftKings recap. I'm going to look at everything that we did in Week 4. I'm going to go over my article on ESPN. It's called Best Buys. If you haven't read it so far this year or in the past 4 years, you should probably start. It basically details who my favorite plays are week in, week out. Every Monday on this video, we kind of take a look at where I was right in the article, where I was wrong in the article, where we got lucky, where we got unlucky. And then I take a look at my cash game lineup and give my results on how we did that week. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate all the support on the YouTube channel. We're about to cross 11,000 subscribers for the first time, as well as all the support on Twitch. We had 1,400 concurrent viewers on Sunday morning for the Anti-Tinkercast right before kickoff. You guys have been tremendous. I really appreciate all the support. It's allowed me to do these videos and do this channel the way that I want to. And it's all from your support. So if you wouldn't mind, please click that like button down below. If you don't already, and based on YouTube's analytics, 70% of you don't, please click that subscribe button and then hit that notifications bell so you can find out and be notified as soon as I post new videos throughout the NFL season. Let's go take a look at Best Buys real quick. We'll run through this. Here's my article right there on ESPN.com. It is an ESPN Plus piece, so you do have to subscribe to ESPN Plus. I think they have a free week trial, so you can check this out, my Clay's article, and you get all the free streaming video as well that goes along with it. We'll start with the quarterbacks, and I start with a miss, which was Drew Brees. 8.5 fantasy points for Drew Brees. He was kind of a tournament play for me, somebody I don't really want to go up to 6,600 in cash. I like to pay a little bit cheaper, but I usually look in the 5K range for cash. I reached up a little bit this week. We'll get to that later. But 18 of 32 for 217 yards, no touchdowns, 8.58 points, and an alarming amount of Taysom Hill playing at quarterback with some RPO, with some zone read, with a whole bunch of stuff. They're really trying to integrate this kid to try and give their offense a bunch of different looks. I don't know what that means for Drew Brees going forward, but I would love to see his price come down if he's not going to be the quarterback for 100% of snaps. If he's only going to be there for 85 or 90% of snaps, especially red zone snaps, that's going to be placing a big dent in his expected performance moving forward. Deshaun Watson, 6,300. All he does is score 25 plus DraftKings points. He got 35.1 this week, 29 of 42, 375 yards, 2 touchdowns, including one on the ground, or an additional one on the ground. Matt Ryan, 6,100 this week, 32.26 fantasy points, 3 touchdowns, 419 yards. He's been absolutely on fire this year. Andy Dalton, 5,400, 28 DraftKings points, 3 touchdowns, 337 yards in a shootout with Matt Ryan's Falcons. Baker Mayfield, kind of disappointed, but still reached value at 16.8 fantasy points, 295 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The rookie on the road did have some struggles. We may have to stick to Baker Mayfield at home, although I do love the talent, and I love the way he attacks opposing teams. He did have a wide receiver open on a deep play who caught the ball and then went out on the 1 yard line. That resulted in a rushing touchdown, which would have essentially put him at about over 20 fantasy points on the day. So a big difference with Callaway running out on the 1 in terms of how we're going to view how Baker Mayfield looked on the road against the Raiders. Alvin Kamara, 19 of 134, 3 touchdowns, 5 of 9, 5 catches on 9 targets, 47 yards, no touchdowns through the air, 44.1 DraftKings points. It's been a great time with Alvin Kamara lock month, but September is over. And now we have Mark Ingram coming back. And I'm not sure that we're going to see the same sort of volume out of Alvin Kamara moving forward that we've seen the last 2 weeks. I would love to think that you would, based on how effective and how efficient he has been, but I think we're going to go back to the 17, 18 touch Alvin Kamara, and we'll have to see where he's priced moving forward, and if we can fit him if there's still values. I like him if there's still values that we can fit him in, but I don't know if I'm going to be trying to squeeze him in knowing that somebody like Mark Ingram is going to come back and get probably 15 touches a week and eat into Alvin Kamara's volume. But he's a freak. He can still make huge plays, and he's going to be involved in the passing game. Melvin Gordon III, 15 carries, 104, 7 catches on 10 targets. This is the difference in Melvin Gordon this year, is the overweight usage in the passing game. He's essentially Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson from 2016, and Alvin Kamara from the first 4 weeks, every single week. 55 yards and a touchdown through the air, 33.9 DraftKings points. Saquon Barkley, another game over 20 fantasy points, ending with 22 DraftKings points. 10 carries only, 44 yards and a touchdown, but 6 catches on 8 targets for 56 yards. Gio Bernard, one of the chalk plays of the day, my favorite play on the week, based on the fact that he really had no competition. He didn't see 100% of the touches from the Bengals backfield this week, but 15 carries for 69 yards. Nice. 2 touchdowns on the ground, 4 for 4 on catches and targets, 27 yards, 25.6 DraftKings points. Carlos Hyde kind of salvaged his day with a late touchdown, 22 carries. He got the 20-plus touches that we projected for him. 82 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Nick Chubb looked ridiculous yesterday, running 2 long touchdowns, literally running away from the Raiders defense, which is something you don't really see from running backs that often, where they get like 1 or 2 yards on the defense and then it turns into 6, 7, 8 yards on the defense just because he's that fast. Good things looking forward for him, and it may eat into Hyde's volume as well. 14.2 points for him. Lamar Miller was a bust, 4.9 points. I'll take the L here. I thought he'd have way more usage in the passing game against the Colts, who've been really giving to running backs so far this year. He had 0 catches on 0 targets, with the Colts allowing over 9 catches a game to running backs. Will Fuller got injured. I think we got unlucky here. Okay, 4 catches on 5 targets, 49 yards and a touchdown. Scored 14.9 DraftKings points, but would have been way more included in a fourth quarter where Deshaun Watson kind of boomed, right? He had 24 points, then he had nothing for a while, then he scored 10 more DraftKings points. Missed a touchdown on a late pass where DeAndre Hopkins dropped it in the end zone. Did Deshaun Watson, but that injury to Will Fuller really put a dent in his fantasy points this week. Sterling Shepard, the lock of the week, 10 catches on 10 targets going up against Ken Crawley, 77 yards and a touchdown, 25 DraftKings points. I really hope you played him. Antonio Callaway was more, I liked him more on FanDuel than I did on DraftKings this week because of the bevy of values from 4K to 5K on DK, and he was minimum salary on FD. So 8.4 DraftKings points. It's fine. It's not thrilling. It didn't kill you. It would have been a smash if he didn't go out on the 1-yard line there in the fourth quarter. Michael Thomas, big bust this week, considering what he was before. And we may have to just use Breeze Thomas stacks in the Superdome moving forward. It's going to be interesting to find out if they can perform on the road. This has been a bit of an issue with Breeze over the years. He's still a good quarterback on the road, but not as good as he is in the Dome. And that's going to extend out to Michael Thomas. If those home road splits continue. 4 catches on only 4 targets after getting like 12, 13 targets a game before that. 47 yards, no touchdowns, 8.7 points. Tyler Boyd, still a smash, 24 points, many of them coming in garbage time on easy targets. Or not garbage time, but late in the game where he was just getting peppered on those final 2 drives. 11 catches, 15 targets, 100 yards, and got you the bonus on DraftKings. Quincy Enunwa, high floor, low ceiling for him, came through on that floor. 4 catches, 8 targets, 66 yards, had 1 end zone target, 10.6 DraftKings points. Jimmy Graham, I've been going back and forth of whether this was a process mistake, not taking Kittle, and the shower narrative with Beathard. 3 catches, 6 yards. His first catch was a touchdown, so that kind of gave us a good start. Ended the day with 11.1 DraftKings points. Not as big a day as I assumed it would be with Cobb out. Eric Ebron went missing in the middle of this game, had 1.9 points forever, ended the day with 15 DraftKings points, 5 catches, 10 targets. Process is still good here as long as Jack Doyle is out, and he stays cheap, 40 yards and a touchdown. Gronk got injured, so that sucked, so that's unlucky. David Njoku, especially with the Patriots scoring as many points as they did. David Njoku logged 7 targets again, 5 catches, 52 yards, 10.2 DraftKings points for 3.2 is more than enough, and I really hope that you paid attention to the defensive section as the Packers scored 23, the Bears scored 14, Tennessee Titans, if you needed the value, which I don't think you did unless it was like kind of an off-the-wall tournament play, scored 6 fantasy points. So let's kind of take a look at our cash game lineup that we had this week and go to the 4-man. Myself and Adam and CSU Ram do the Daily Fantasy Edge podcast. It's available wherever you listen or download your podcast from. Just search for The Daily Fantasy Edge and you will find it. Now, every week we play used to be a 3-man game. We've included the listener that wins the listener league from the previous week. This week it was Buster Boys. He had a good score, but not good enough on a week like this. I put up 221. Deshaun Watson, Gio Bernard, Ezekiel Elliott, Geronimo Allison, Quincy Enunwa, Sterling Shepard, Eric Ebron, Alvin Kamara, and Bears. Do you recognize many of these players from Best Buys, folks? The only reason that Ezekiel Elliott was in here, and I went over this on a bunch of the shows last week. We talked about it. I write my article on Wednesday. We talked about it on the Friday show. I have a word cap. I'm allowed 2,000 words in my article. I was writing up Kamara, Gordon, Barkley, Bernard. right? I did not have the room to fit Ezekiel Elliott, and I needed to find a couple of value running backs because everybody else was really expensive. So I said on the Friday show, I regret not writing up Ezekiel Elliott because in a build that you might have to make, you may need that extra 400 from Saquon Barkley. And I did, as this lineup was zeroed out in terms of salary, right? I had no more money to go up to Melvin Gordon. I could have come down off of Quincy Enunwa to one of the 3K wide receivers, which one of them would have benefited me, right? Coming down to Taylor Gabriel would have benefited. If I come down to Christian Kirk, he scored 2 less points or whatever. To be able to get up to Barkley or Melvin Gordon. But it is what it is, right? I could have come down off of Ebron to get to Njoku, but in terms of last man in, I really wanted Deshaun Watson this week. So that was my rationale there, paying up at quarterback for me to 6,300 over going with somebody like Andy Dalton, who also had a very, very good week. That would have given me the extra 900, which would have allowed me to come up from Zeke to Melvin Gordon. But at the end of the day, that was my 2v2. It was Watson and Elliott versus MG3 and Dalton, and I really preferred Watson and his 30-point potential upside, just like I said a couple of weeks ago with Cam Newton, paying up for that quarterback's upside to see where those things go. Now, I've had some requests to see my tournament lineups. Here's the thing, guys. I build 3 lineups a week. I build a cash game lineup, which you just saw. I build a lineup which is like 2v2 or 3v3 off of that lineup for what we call a leagues lineup, something you're going to use not in cash games, but not really in big field tournaments, not optimized for a big field tournament lineup. And then I build a large field tournament lineup where I'm trying to exploit percentage owned and whatnot. After that, I'm generating lineups on Daily Roto's Lineup Optimizer. The other 147 lineups I build come from there. There is a link down in chat, down in the comment section down below. If you want to link to Daily Roto, use promo code SmithsLife at checkout if you want to buy into their stuff for NFL season, NHL, or NBA. But these are my lineups. I had a 248. It came in 222nd in the Millionaire Maker. My issue is breaking down these lineups for you guys is pointless. I'm setting my groups. I'm setting my exposures. I'm doing everything else. I don't think there's much to learn from these lineups outside of game theory, and the game theory comes from when and how I build them. But these are them. Y'all wanted to see them? There they are. Highest scoring lineup of the week, 248. But as you see right here, lineup 1, this was my cash game lineup that I showed you before. It came in 7,000th in the Millie Maker. And then this was my pivot lineup. You know, kind of 2v2. A lot of the same guys we talked about in cash. Most of them from the article. In fact, every single person in this lineup is from the article. Dalton, Bernard, Kamara, Geronimo Allison. Okay, he was the X factor we talked about on the stream on Sunday morning right before kickoff with Cobb out. I preferred Allison, and Allison getting those 11 targets, the massive bump that we thought he'd get in usage this week. So you always have to keep tuning into the stream, guys, because it's great that I love that you're here on YouTube. But the Friday stream with the questions and answers, and then that I also post to YouTube, but then Sunday morning before lock, we do a live stream leading you all the way up to lock where you can ask me questions with information that's changed or my thoughts that I'm up or down on players that I've been on throughout the week. So that's it. Those are my tournament lineups. That's pretty much all there is to talk about. On the week, I played 180 head-to-head games. I went 150 and 30. That is good for 83.3% wins this week. So that was a really, really good week for me. You need to win 54%, 53% at the levels that I play based on the rake to be profitable. So it's a very profitable week for me. I'm very happy with the way that the content went, very happy with the way that my process was. I had 24 hours to celebrate it, and we're already on to week 5. So if you would, subscribe button's right there. First look is right here. Be sure you click on this to see who I like early for week 5. And I'll catch up to you guys later. Bye.